I thought there was a possibility that Leshrac and Lina would both be potential pickups, just because, I mean, they're not terribly bad heroes. We've seen them in the meta once or twice. I mean, they combo kind of well with certain heroes like the Shadow Demon, for example.
I don't know. Here's the thing about Leshrac and Lina that the reason why I don't feel like they fit in this meta. You can't run them as cores. No, you can't run them as cores at all. There's so many cores that are much better, and they don't have a place as cores. And then as supports, what role do they really fit? What's being drafted right now as supports are defensive supports, heroes that enable your cores, or heroes that create more illusions, or AA or something like that. Leshrac, Lina don't offer anything that really contributes to this meta, and that's
or really greedy supports, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, being able to pick up a Kunkka or something like that. But
what is the play against this mass illusion stuff? Because I know I'm going to see it in all my pub games.
More illusions.
No, what do we do? What do we do? There's like 10 illusions coming at you. They're just going to take your buildings. What is the response? What do you do? I
mean, part of the reason this illusion meta is coming forward is the fact that these team fights are all important, right? And because everybody's sort of orienting themselves towards team fights, and the high ground is kind of difficult to push up into, it's just a whole lot easier to take the no risk factor, right? And go for these illusion pushes. That's why Terrorblade was a lot of strong, right? Because he could burst down these buildings so quickly. But I think that part of the reason, like, you have to actually push outside of your base if you're going up against illusion, so it forces the enemy team to come out. A hero like Lion wouldn't be bad. He's got some ways to deal with it.
Okay, thanks to all three of you. I will be returning back to our panel, of course, at the end of our second game regardless, but let's see how we pan out. Let's head back to our DraftKings for game 2.
DC's turn to pick.
Thank you very much, Paul. We're here at our drafter's desk, of course, getting ready for game number 2. Winter, we pretty much mutually agreed that for game 1, both teams put up a stellar draft, but unfortunately for DC in particular, you know, it was a bit more frugal in the laning stage, being able to succeed. So here for game number 2, would you like to see DC maybe put a bit more emphasis in the laning stage?
Just execute better.
Execute better?
I don't think anything that...
Play good.
Yeah, just play good. They don't need to change anything big. Maybe a certain hero, but overall, what they did in the first game was really good. Just needed to play better.
Looks like with our draft underway, TNC have snagged up the mighty Axe along with the Timbersaws, a couple of badasses right there, while DC, with their first pick, they get the ET.
It's already a very different approach from TNC in the second game, like drastically different. And I guess you could say the same thing for Digital Chaos. Maybe they didn't feel like the Naga was really... It wasn't really the problem, but at the same time it didn't work out. So maybe just a fresh look in the second game.
I'm surprised they didn't ban the ET again, because they banned it out first to last game. Why would they let it get through now, even though they won?
Maybe they think Shadow Demon is a bigger problem. And I think that with their playstyle, they're very aggressive, and when you are opening up with the Axe and Timber, you have an okay amount of wave clear, I suppose, but Mirana can just always be super annoying, and illusion strats just seem to be very prevalent so far.
Fair enough. It's just the ET seems to open up so many heroes, counter so many heroes. It's like always like a super annoying hero to just have in the enemy team.
I mean, is it ever bad to pick ET?
No, it's not
really.
Good.
Yeah,
like,
if you can't play him, I guess.
But like DC is one of the like Saxa plays a monstrous ET. It's like always on point. His spells are always good. Obviously, they get the faces void on top of that. They have like massive team fight right now, massive late game. Good team fight in early and mid game as well.
It's like the same thing we talked about yesterday. It's cooldown versus no cooldown. Like TNC can fight non-stop with the two heroes that they already have, whereas DC are putting themselves on pretty much the Earth Splitter and the Chronosphere cooldowns.
But yeah. I feel like the no cooldown lineups are only good though if you can actually get objectives while the spells are on cooldown. You need like a pushing hero.
I was gonna build onto that, where the games where Wings had Void plus Elder Titan, and they had the Juggernaut with Battle Fury, split pushing, clearing the waves, and it's very difficult for the team that wants to constantly fight when all the waves are always shoved towards your towers. You have to deal with them, and the cooldown doesn't become a problem if you can't actually constantly fight.
Yeah, we have seen like the Liquid game yesterday against Newbie. They had like really no cooldown dependent heroes like at all. And they just couldn't push because they had no push heroes at all. Like, if you can win many fights, yeah, sure, but if you can't break high ground, you will never win the game.
But with an opening that has a Timber sign, I don't necessarily think that wave clear is going to be a huge concern for TNC.
No, not wave clear, but like somebody that can actually damage the tower.
You mean like building hitting? Yeah, okay, I agree with that.
Because like if you can't hit buildings, then you can win as many fights as you want. If there's superior late game, you won't break the base.
Yeah, that's a very solid point there. Where when you look at the teams that are going in today, they are very good at coming up with drafts that are very all-rounded. You have good wave clear, you have good early game. That's Dota right now. You need to be well-rounded. You can't just go all in on something and just ignore the rest of the game.
Got to cover all those bases. Second phase of bans here. TNC get rid of the Weehot Invoker along with the Ursa, and we go back to DC side. Gentlemen, do you think there's any value at all in DC picking up something like a Skywrath Mage? Good against Timber, good with Faceless Void. Is it pair okay as a support duo with Elder Titan?
It's very possible. Like Elder Titan can roam around and Skywrath can just lane support against the Timber if they choose to lane it off lane. And if you have a Chrono with the Ancient Seal on top of the Titan aura, you actually just explode like in a second.
There's a downside to that though, is that if you have Skywrath and Titan support, then if there's ever a dual aggressive lane coming in from TNC and your safe lane's not super strong, you can really struggle. And we've seen a lot of that in the past.
I mean, you should win your lanes with those supports anyway. Like unless you have somehow a super weak carry that doesn't do anything in the lane.
Well, just any melee carry against a Timber or an Axe is going to struggle.
If you do Void safe lane against those two,
of course
it doesn't matter what supports you have, you're gonna lose the lane.
Yeah, that's what we like see a lot of times. They just pick like a sustainable safe laner that can just be there by himself, and the supports are just like running all over the place, doing work.
Dang. Sam H, that guy, MVP last game on his Bat Rider. He was MVP in their elimination match where they took out OG with his ridiculous Faceless Void. This kid has really stepped up, and I imagine he has gained a lot of new fans.
So that would be the hero that's gonna siege the high ground for TNC, a very tanky, beefy hero. That's gonna solve that problem of not being able to hit the high ground with the Timber and the Axe after killing heroes.
I really like the lineup too, because they can actually really easily defend their jungle. If DC ever wants to invade, those three heroes can fight them really well.
They're gonna have the Oracle next for them if they want as well, like Oracle plus Alchemist. Oh my god, that is gonna be so difficult to deal with.
Maybe not anymore. AA comes out and says, screw your sustain, and don't even think about getting anything else with it.
But you know, usually AA, we spoke about it countering the like fighting Alchemist build where you got like Solar Crest, Abyssal Blade and stuff. Like not so much the split pushing Alchemist when you go Radiance and Manta, because AA can't really stop that, and it's actually like pretty poorly when you get split pushed.
Yeah, look at it in the laning phase as well. The laning phase A, if he gets pressured like a dual lane or a tri lane, he's not gonna offer too much. It's very easy to kill him when you run at him at the Axe, Battle Hunger, early Battle Hunger, and just running at him with the other support. He's gonna be always scared for his life in the laning phase.
I feel like there's just going to be like a Lich Axe off lane from TNC, and that AA is going to just pretty much do nothing. Like they can control the lane, they can even pull, they can just deny so much away from DC's safe lane right now.
And
so I think it's a Timber carry?
Reserve time.
Well, yeah, I think either Timber safe or...
I don't think it matters that much, like Timber top or Timber bottom with the Lich. Like, I think overall it's just going to be a very good laning phase for TNC. Both Axe and Timber are very good at being left alone by the support. You don't need anyone to actually help you that much. So it fits their game plan right now.
And the only reason I would like Timber bottom lane instead of Axe is because Axe kind of wants to push the lane and pressure them a lot, while Lich wants to deny the wave and keep it back.
But then the other thing is after you win the lane with the Lich sacrificing early, then you want to break the tower, then Axe will come in handy there.
Fair enough. Maybe I could even like do it that they like do like a lane switch then, because Axe would be very farmed and very high level. That would be something really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what you want to go for. Like if you go for the Vanguard first, yes, then you swap him out. Go farm your Blink. But if you go for the Blink first, then you wanna keep fighting. Really depends on what's the game plan.
Well, what do you think about the Magnus? And we spoke about Void's pretty much only weakness is that he can't push out lanes, and Magnus like solves the problem.
We actually love that combination. I think you and I both talked about it on one of the first days of TI. So I think it's solid, and against triple melee core, it shouldn't be that difficult, honestly, for him to find like decent RPs.
His lane is not like he's not gonna be able to pressure the Alchemist. Like I assume if it's mid, it's not gonna be able to pressure the Alchemist too much.
But I think they're relying pretty heavily on like just the AA making sure that he hits blast on the Alchemist during fights, and then just having the damage through the Elder Titan inside of the Chronosphere with Empower. I mean that should be enough to kill as long as you can line everything up properly.
You know, if Elder Titan actually gets level 2 and you set up a stomp, you get like a really easy skewer into the tower, and that can like lead to a very easy kill.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And just generally, like Elder Titan plus Magnus sets up like really good RPs. Like you stomp 2 on the left side, you RP 1 from the right, you score them all together. It's like it sets up for really like nice setup for Void as well.
Yep, for DC they're super strong team fight right now, and TNC they have good lanes, but their team fight isn't as strong. So they're gonna look to win their lanes, get objectives, like try to split them up, get the Roshan if possible. They're on Dire.
I mean, DC like their late game teamfight is gonna be
They're gonna
super strong.
Yeah, they're gonna go for another melee core. Do you think so?
Yeah, probably. They should. Alistair
Slark
wouldn't pick
slash
Magnus.
Ember slash anyone who can maybe really
Ember
utilize
would
that.
be really good, I think. I mean, maybe not in the laning phase, but in the sense that you would be able to almost indefinitely defend high ground.
Just if you go for any other options as well, your laning phase is regardless. It's gonna be really hard this game for DC.
Like DC will have to take mid late game. I don't think they can win early. Like they will have to weather the storm a bit in the mid game.
Well, is there any pick that can allow them to play early?
There's the Ember.
Or there's Ember, but I don't think Ember is like a very great laner regardless.
But the thing is, if you look at the way that DC want to play, they're obviously okay with going late. So the only catch on TNC is actually the Axe.
How about Rubik here? There's a lot of spells to steal, and you have lift.
For TNC?
Yeah, for
That's like a Rubik's wet dream right here.
there's a lot of spells, and you have lift that would solve some of your problems with disable.
Rubik is ownage. I would really love to see Rubik
5
here.
seconds remaining.
Wait, it's gonna be Demon playing Lich? Have we seen him play Rubik a whole lot? I don't think so.
No, I don't think they
Reserve
pick
time.
Rubik.
Don't you want somebody to control the lanes a bit more, since you know that Lich is fairly static? Like, don't you want something that's going to help you to be able to secure at least one rune?
Like a Tusk sort of hero.
Some kind of
That's
roaming
why
hero.
Yeah, roaming hero.
I wouldn't even mind Bounty, honestly.
Yeah, then you can just leave your safe lane alone. Like Tusk, I mean Axe or Timber, they don't really care being left alone. So that would definitely be a possibility too.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense too, because if you have that, it's gonna allow the alchemist to it's very important that you have a hero that secures runes for alchemist. That is super crucial for his early game.
And
right
also
now,
a hero can stack for him.
I mean, right now you could say that the axe could secure one side of the rune for him, you know, but ideally you want another support that can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen TNC huddle up a bit there. Hopefully they didn't forget to save the beginning.
Oh, looking to
The combo breaker.
The combo breaker.
That's actually a perfect hero here.
I actually forgot they ran this before.
Yeah, they did. And they owned.
Yeah, it was very, very good. I'm still going to say DC. I think that their lineup is just a little bit more stable during the late game.
Like the only way DC really lose is if the silencer gets out of control and breaks too many combos for them, I think. So DC has an easier lineup.
I'm gonna go with TNC. Sorry guys.
I'm neutral.
It's okay.
Let's see how this game ends up playing out as we begin to dive in. It's game number 2. We'll throw it over now to Toby1 and Merlini.
What an interesting world we live in. TNC one victory away from a top 6, at least finish here at TI6, potentially
10
eliminating
seconds
Digital
remaining.
Chaos. Both these teams have already won $500,000, so
5
huge
seconds
prize pool for this
remaining.
competition, but everyone wants the trophy. Everyone wants to get as far through this competition as possible and maybe make that grand final. Does TNC have what it takes to 2-0 DC, especially with this draft?
I don't know. DC have gone for a different pace here. Let's jump into the game
Prepare
and
for
see if
battle.
they can make this heavy team fight lineup work. We haven't seen too much of Magnus recently. We've seen a lot of Silencer coming out from DC, or from TNC rather, and that's going to be the most important hero by far in this game. All right. I'm doing my predictions, Toby. You go on.
I know you do every time. You're all about those compendium points. For all those people out there that probably took the gamble, do I put DC, do I take TNC, the double best of threes they have to play? Because that day doesn't end after this series. The winner of this will play up against eHome in our third series of the day. So they have a little bit of time to think before going up against a team who ran a marathon with EG last night. So you want to make this as quick and efficient as possible. And TNC, they're off to a good start with that. You go into Sam, he had a terrific game with the Batrider.
30 seconds
With his
to battle.
initiations, that early kills on Moo, and Moo's gonna stare him down already, jumping over the river. Okay, yeah, he's come. Moo, you are a long way up here. Cuckoo's right next to him. He'll punch him once. You got Time Walk to get away, and he's on the thin part of the river, so he can easily get back to the other side, but you'll go down into the river and run away. This means Alchemist will be able to take bottom rune. That may be another reason why DC is grouping up in the way they are. They're not being leveled up by Misery. We'll put them all to sleep, and he's going to steal that bounce rune away from Raven. The Timber Chain up from Cuckoo, up to the high ground of the DC jungle. So it will be a rune apiece. Demon was the other man to take the rune.
At least Alchemist didn't actually steal Greeple's Greep first. Sometimes you do want that level 1 acid spray, but controlling Alchemist runes is the name of the game for DC and for TNC. Both sides need to really concentrate on that. Silencer's not the best roamer in the early game to secure his lane, and I think as the draft analyst mentioned, the stomp into the skewer back into the tower, especially on a low armor hero like Alchemist, it could be very problematic for him before hitting Chemical Rage.
Yeah, which is why you look to see Lich amplify them You get that Frost Armor nice and early, help the Timbersaw before the early damage could be done when his reactive armor charges haven't begun stacking. Help out the Alchemist on that front too, so it's not just about controlling up the lanes, it's about buffing these two cores on the mid and bot for TC. But I also want to keep my eyes on this top lane. Once again, we get this melee versus melee. Sam versus Moo, the Axe versus the Void.
And this time Sam has a safe lane. It's a little bit easier to pull that side camp, and he can stack up that full camp as he wills.
Wondering what his full build's going to be. Like, is there a reason to get early points up in Call, or is it almost worth getting the extra tick damage of the Battle Hunger against the Faceless Void?
The level 1 in Battle Hunger is really nice for the extra move speed, so you can actually catch up.
Oh, mid lane, the skewer. Weeha actually dragging Raven a long way back. He does have a Shockwave level 1, but the damage on bottom lane will also be another kill. It's Elder Titan who finds the kill on the Lich.
This bottom lane is a huge struggle for TNC. Timbersaw's still level 1, and with your Lich lane, you're going to deny a lot of experience with sacrifice, but the instant you give him a kill...
Stomp's going to keep him down here. Misery pulls down the Stomp, dragging the Spirit over. Cuckoo does actually have a way out if he can chain to the other side of the river. Able to do so. Resolution won't reach him there. So lost his support, but keeps his own life.
They're still losing this lane pretty darn badly. Magnus gets a bounty rune. Perhaps the Raven was scared of the skewer or got hit by it.
Well, after that last little tussle in mid lane, it's not much of a surprise. Misery actually gets in front, trying to body block up Cuckoo. He timber chains away. But having to walk a long way away from that bottom lane, this gives Resolution some really good space on bot. Uncontested farm for him. You'll loop around and grab that regeneration rune. Sat there for a full 30 seconds before Cuckoo picked it up.
And you have to be very concerned with TNC if they're losing their early game. Their lineup was built to...
this could help. Courier snipe attempt coming out from AU. The Observer Ward's in the lane, so he'll see it perfectly. It's still 10 seconds before that Courier can fly. To AU, it's the easiest walkout he ever has to do. And there it is. The bottle is lost for Weeha.
That is not the hero that you expect to do a Courier snipe. Normally, Lich is just the one, you know, sit in lane, sit in the back, stacking and eating up melee creeps.
And he rotates early instead. Sam on Moo. Misses the call. Demon's going to rotate over. He has his Arcane Curse up in 1 second time. So Moo, no time walk. 5 seconds till his back off cooldown. He'll run down into the river. But no one else will stop him. He's well away.
So still get a bounty rune for old Raven. And now Lich has gone to his lane now that Timbersaw is actually getting some okay levels. Looks like he'll get a wave down on bottom and almost hit Silver 3, but he's in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, Resolution's chasing him down. The Flame Guard is up. He also has that Chilling Touch, the bonus damage. Cuckoo chains away. Resolution keeping his distance, making sure Cuckoo doesn't kill him with an easy Timber Chain back again. Cuckoo's low enough. One more attack, and it's not enough from the AA on 5 HP. Chains down. Cuckoo still alive, but the attack from the tower will guarantee the kill. And Digital Chaos add 2 to the board.
He got a lot of damage onto them though. Resolution now blow us out, but he's still at critical HP. He doesn't have any HP right now. Regen. He's actually still doing okay. He expended a lot of their resources when they went for that kill. But DC have way stronger team fight, especially if Silencer is a little bit under level. And I'm very concerned that the Alchemist isn't going to get enough, and the other heroes are also not getting enough. How are they going to create space for an Alchemist to greed it up?
No. Really can't, not when they got to farm up the Axe even more, but Alchemist does have himself a triple stack. He's going to farm up now. He's got a 3-0-2 build. And got Mud Golems and Satyrs, so it's sort of like the dream stack for an Alchemist at the moment. There should be some good injection of money. No rotation to middle lane. Demon's not going to be there to soak up the experience. In fact, right now, he's trying to stack and slow down Moo or stop Moo from doing his own pull. While Moo blocks the bottom lane. Nice fight there for the Ember and the AA together, so they get the Timbersaw down. And it's DC who are off to a really good start here in game 2.
Yeah, really great combination that they have there in the bottom lane.
Oh, Misery. What a nice time to come over. You can push Moo off that top lane, but Raven into the Stomp. Misery going to bring that Spirit back in again. How much does he punch for? Not really enough, but at least he's stalling up this farming of Raven. There's that. Oh, Weeha! skewers forward, hits the level 3 shockwave, and the Alchemist will drop, but more importantly, these stacks are so low that Weeha can finish them himself. This is really good money. This will actually help him finish up his arcane boots early on.
And on top of that, DC have placed observer wards deep in their jungle so that Alchemist can't continue stacking. They place a sentry ward to block the camp that they just stole from them. How is Alchemist going to get back in this game, especially when there's an AA on the opposite side? Normally you'll see like AA come out immediately before a ban phase so that you can ban out that AA. It's one of the hardest counters, I would say, especially if you go for Armlet build, which it looks like Raven is going for. And this early game is getting ugly.
Weeha playing around with Raven. He's got that RP available, but he's baiting it against Raven at the moment. Almost enticing Raven to come close bottom lane. Cuckoo, Timber Chain up. They need a little bit more damage. It's no sleight of fist, but Resolution. He's going to go diving for this one. Cuckoo already triggering up the healing sound, so good regeneration coming his way. Sucks are a little bit too deep, however, and with Demon right behind him, Timber Chain well off target from Cuckoo. Couldn't find the perfect line. It is a level 2. Thaska makes a break for the tree line. He's got his TP scroll available, and he does it. No whirling death. He's out of here. They won't find the kill. TNC dragging 3 heroes over, looking for that poor little ancient apparition, and unable to get him.
Still a blank on the scoreboard for TNC.
It's almost unheard of with TNC.
Yeah, they're losing out on XP despite having a Lich. They're barely ahead in gold despite having Alchemist. And I think it's just...
Is Raven dead again? He can skewer RP Shockwave and kill off Raven. It's not going to take that much from Weeha.
That one Chemical Rages up. He's looking to kill some stacks.
Oh, able to take out most of it. In fact, he got practically all of it from the Alchemist. The Dire's going to scan, trying to see where their exit is. As Lich moves over, Observer Ward on the hillside, sees Weeha in misery. He's got to stay in the tree line. There's no Radiant Observer Ward to scout the Lich. So just waits for DC, the threat to pass by. Misery wants to Spirit behind the tower. Demon does have no mana, and it's actually the Lich who's in trouble. The Stomp slowing him down. Weeha RPs just to turn the Lich around. He couldn't get the skewer back without using the RP. And yet another kill going the way of DC. 5 in total now.
Too easy for them with the Elder Titan roaming around in the early game. Like, normally Magnus, it's pretty difficult to get skewers off nowadays, but with Misery there, they have no kill potential too. Like, who's actually going to roam around and stop the Elder Titan from invading your jungle, placing observer wards, just messing with whoever's jungling?
Yeah, it seems really odd. Like a Silencer and a Lich are just too passive to give any kind of lane presence. So the Axe isn't doing anything. Sam is just trying to rapidly approach that Blink Dagger. So then finally, TNC will have some jump control.
They wanted self-sufficient laners, but I think the biggest problem with that Timbersaw, he really needs like level 2, level 3 maybe, and he just got that a little bit too slowly on the bottom lane. And the Lich died, which propelled the DC supports to get to this treacherous early mid-game.
They're actually tanking up on the Axe, so he's building a Vanguard after the armor gets completed over on the Alchemist. The armor timing's not terrible,
but they still don't have the Alchemist.
Yeah, there's still no jump.
And Elder Titan smoking back into Dire jungle. Still maybe a third duration left on the Observer Ward. Misery going for the Stomp and the Steal, and like he can just do this.
He Spirit kills the first Wild Wing, punches the second. And all this money means so much to Raven, having that greed.
Wait, what is Magnus going for? Is he going for an Echo Saber?
Would be surprising if he does. Like an Echo Saber, that is. The Orchid I can understand.
Orchid first on Mag? I'm not right.
Demon. Magnus. Well, he's just sitting underneath the tower. Weeha didn't have RP available. Demon's probably well aware of this.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want it? It's the mind games of these boys. What a nice bounty rune that will be taken by Magnus and not Raven. I remember the last time I saw Raven actually pick up a bounty rune, if at all.
10 minutes, he just has an armlet at the moment, very far behind, and that's a progression towards the Radiance. Do you want to go for Radiance this game? I guess he has to. there's not really another option. It's also really good at stopping the eventual Blink Dagger, maybe from Magnus. I'm still not sure what he's going for. Oh, looks like he's picked up something on the chicken, and it will be Echo Saber.
Okay. We are looking for that bonus damage.
Also, the mana regeneration is really nice, because he didn't opt for Arcane Boots. He can always stumble it later.
Resolution, if you're really getting shredded up hard by Cuckoo. But he does have that double damage room. The Ice Blast on the way in hits on Cuckoo. And that allows Misery just punch him into death.
There's just no threats on TNC. They've already dealt with the Alchemist, and no one else is really posing any issue.
They're looking to Weeha.
Maybe they skewer away?
How do you stop him? You don't even have a concoction stun available. They find Moon. He's an easier target, but then Chrono's over on 3. Time Walk will be available in a moment. Weeha lining himself up for a good skewer. They're almost all there. Started with the RP, pulls out of it in the last moment. Getting back to his own tier 1 tower. Remember that RP is still available. He locks in Sam, but it's only so he can run back to his tier 1 tower. No call available, and TNC pull out of the fight. The Ice Blast is on the way. And they realized they did not find the opening.
And they're just trying to delay both timings to the point where DC can just have massive team fights with their ultimate. TNC don't want that to happen. Immediately smoke up, post failed gank.
Well, they're going to steal the Radiant stack. Moo doesn't have time walk to jump across this. They put down the Observer and they see just how low Moo is as well.
That's a nice pick-me-up for the Alchemist.
He really did need something. Now up to almost 2,500 gold. Doesn't get lucky with the rune. It's going to be an Arcane, but still he'll take whatever he can get. Resolution's pinging for the bottom lane. Don't know if he thinks he can go to Cuckoo with a Spirit forward. From both the ET and the Spirit. Yep, there it is. Spirit forward. Searing Chains. The Stomp. Perfect timing. Canceling the tether away. And the Ice Blast flies in. But it's Resolution's damage that finds the kill.
And the first Global Silence has been wasted in vain as Timbersaw falls. I thought maybe they could make a kill with that, especially if they go on the Twist or the Magnus.
Spirit's going again, right in behind, looking for the Stomp over on Lich. Lich far enough away again. Elder Titan pulling out the Stomp. It is still on cooldown, but they won't really care when it zones him out. Axe really just running in even though there's no tier 1 tower.
He needs Blink, but they already have a jungle occupant in the Alchemist.
Yep. That's why they've been trying to stack up the camps next to Secret Shop as well as the Ancients.
At least the Radiant Observer Ward in the Dire Jungle is expired, so TNC catch a breath of relief as they can farm up their camps in safety. But I don't know, they're still like a long ways away from being in really good fighting shape.
Oh. When you have an Ancient Apparition that for the last 3-4 minutes has been sitting on the top lane where the Dire tier 1 tower used to be and has not been contested at all, you know there's problems for TNC.
Oh, there's so many problems for them. Like, everyone can just go where they want. Elder Titan's just been in the jungle, just farming out lanes, like, no problem. And before the Axe Blink Dagger, there's really still just no catch, no jump, no disables that they can rely on. One level unstable concoction up finally for the Alchemist.
The only real big advantage for TNC is the fact that the Alchemist still is top net worth and by 2.4k.
Is under attack.
That's exactly where he would like to be. It's coming at a sacrifice to the rest of his team, but if the Alchemist can get big enough, maybe they can stand up against the fight of DC.
It's so easy to hit an AA on this game. Sometimes, you know, if your lineup is spaced around someone that... Watching this smoke.
Sam is dead. Over next to Secret Shop. Resolution actually has Searing Chains up in 1 second time. The Ice Blast is available. It won't fly in. In fact, they just Chrono Sphere. They're going to cancel that TP into the mid lane. Except the fact the Axe is dead. And maybe they can actually get a revenge kill here, TNC. They find Bucks are up in the trees. Lich is moving over, so Crossblast will be available. And yes, there is finally a +2 for Demon. That's his first +2 of the game. It's the first kill of TNC's game. They may actually not get out of this one scot-free. Misery's not going to do enough. There's not enough rotation. They're too busy taking out the tier 1 tower in mid.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You know, every one of DC's heroes can set up for an Ice Blast for the AA. TNC can't really farm safely for long.
The draft panel was saying, man, like DC's team fight is unbelievably good. TNC needed to win their laning phase, and like they definitely haven't. Demon. Well, he's in trouble. Hang around a little bit. You can drop all the items you want on the ground. But now the Stomp on the Magnus. He'll go down to the Lich. It's Demon who's being chased down by Misery. Not going to happen. It was the Magnus in the mid lane who died underneath the Dire tier 2.
When we thought Jimmy had tossed aside his old ways.
He's one game up at TA. He's going to have a little bit of fun. Cuckoo, are you here for a courier snipe? He's here to creep skip actually, but the courier will fly over Dire Observer Ward. Cuckoo was doing this on the bottom lane as well, trying to force a reaction out from DC so they can't just group up, rotate around and find kills.
They're mostly trying to expand on the territory that they can farm. Because Timbersaw just, he needs Bloodstone, he needs to tank up too so that he can be the forefront of their
free kill
fight.
No way Lich can survive through that one, even with the extra curse from Demon. There's no control, the Lich will die again. That's 3 now for him.
So another game plan might change. The Alchemist has Radiance, so perhaps they can take a fight, but the items are coming in are swift. Yeah.
Sam still needs the 200. There is an Ancient stack which you could farm up. That would give him the 200 he's looking for.
Yeah, or alternatively he has to wait maybe 30 seconds for a camp at the top, but they've had to expend a lot of sentry wards.
Here comes DC again into the Dire jungle. You can stack whatever camps you want, but it's not going to help you. And actually looks like a lot of TPs, very obvious TPs, underneath the creep wave. Cuckoo, as well as AU coming down to the Radiant Ancients. This is Sam's last bit of money, so now he does have the cash for the Blink Dagger. But the push is coming from DC on top lane, so even if TNC, like, you heavy TP to the bottom lane, now you're going to walk up to the top to stop Moo as well as Resolution from freely taking your tier 2.
Well, they have a smoke, and they don't quite yet have the blink, but this is just so obvious. Everyone had already TP down in the bottom lane. They have to show one of their heroes. I think Alchemist has to show in the mid lane before they can actually make a move. DC already have very deep observer wards too, just outside the T3. Here they go.
Yeah, maybe they can get lucky. Moo is walking down into TC's clutches to blink up. They find the call with the Timber Chain, and they got enough damage. Moo, no! He'll time walk it out. The Culling Blade was cancelled by Sam at the last moment. Now the Global Silence Resolution came in to help. Moo will drop. The Culling Blade bonus. Ice Blast is on the way. It's going to hit pretty hard. But it doesn't matter when the Culling Blade can do its work. The Ember and Void losing their lives, and TNC catch a break, slowing down Misery just for a second. Cuckoo. Level 4 Timber Chain, they'll have to go over the river to find this. The Blink, they get the extra movement speed. There's no tree there. Into the storm from Misery. Sam underneath the tier 1 tower with no Ice Blast. They may not want to turn and fight this one. And TNC may just count their lucky stars. They called out 2. Magnus comes over, has a Blink Dagger, jumps up, just beating into Cuckoo. That Echo Saber helping out with the damage. Yeah. TNC overstayed their welcome on the Radiant side of the river.
It's a pretty unique build. Maybe like with that little bit of slow at the start, you can skewer them a little bit easier. Or just get solo kills without having to use RP. TNC really did not want to use Global Silence. That's like their big trump card in the team fight, at least until TNC get, you know, perhaps Grease, BKB. That's also maybe a reason why he didn't go for the Treads or the Arcane boost. Maybe he wants to save that item slot for another way to get out of the Global Silence.
Just wondering how much those 2 kills have really impacted DC. Like, we still have to look at this team as, like, their timings are fantastic on a lot of their items, but the Alchemist is getting more and more space. Not having to be involved. Stacking up Ancients now, like, with this Ancients going down here, he should crack around 15,000 net worth.
He can team fight, or sorry, he can split push out lanes and farm, but he can't team fight just because of getting, if he has Armlet on especially with the A ulti, he's just gonna flop.
Yeah.
His HP pool is like very terrible for a strength hero.
Now, the team fight can come later for him, however. And as long as he can get up a couple of Aghanim Scepters, that's a good thing for TNC. Every single hero really benefits from an Aghanim's upgrade. Especially the Timber and the Axe.
Even the Dire scan come out, they scan to the northwest of Moo in the mid lane, and it did hit.
Well, attempted blink call from Sam. Misery's done steal. 7 concoctions there from Raven. For once being involved in this fight, the call. Misery just gets shredded apart by the Timbersaw. Try to stay up close. Now it's Resolution. And Zuxa, who's on the run. Timber Chain again forward. Darkram can slow him down. Concoction as well. Chaining up, and there's another kill. A double for Cuckoo.
Too many free kills for TNC, they're acting like the Magnus is behind them, because generally that's actually what
Radiant's
does happen.
bottom
Magnus
tower
or
is
Faceless
under
Void is just baiting out one of the supports, and then you all go into support, you all get chronoed or RP'd, and then they all follow up. But they tested it. They checked the bait, and
Radiant's
they
bottom
saw
tower
Moo in
is
mid,
under attack.
and Magnus was not
Radiant
there. He's had his blink for a
structures
while,
are
but yet to
fortified.
connect with a meaningful RP in quite some time, and TNC, the spoils of the T1 and another jungle to claim for
Radiant's
farming.
bottom tower
It's like
has fallen.
DC is fueling the TNC fire. More and more money flooding their way, as we're showing before. Like the golden experience is coming the way of TNC. They may lose Cuckoo here on the bot. He wants to chain out. Weehard can't keep up with him. You can skewer forward. Shockwave 1 second on cooldown, but Cuckoo's got the distance. Blink dagger in 1 second. Ice blast, perfect spot. Cuckoo will pop. And looks like Magnus has had enough. Yes, he buys up a Shadow Blaze, but we are really looking to get this initiation, and maybe finally we can see DC use their superior team fight against TNC.
The Shadow Blade is one of the best items versus an illusion-based Radiance carry, because...
They concocting? Yeah, they're coming in for this. The blink call up, target with a double stun! Raven finding Weeha! He'll burn through him! The Alchemist finds the kill in the Ancient Apparition, and now with the Thumb Misery, trying to create some space. Resolution's in here as well. Move, Chrono's on the axe, but where is the damage? Resolution with a sleight of fist, trying to help out. The crack will come as well. The Alchemist already killed off the other side, but Sam is still alive. The sleight of fist searing chains, the Lich only will not bounce. Resolution, Spirit available. Does he want to go up? And nope, he'll go away instead. DC have had enough. No more kills going the way of TNC, but that's still a 3-for-1 trade-off, and all you lost was the axe.
Look at that Observer Ward right there, though, that set that fight up for them. That was the one that just made the Magnus, like, he got caught out in the river, and they had vision of him during nighttime because of the Observer Ward, and were able to connect with the stun. It was a quick blink dodge by him, but inadvertently killed his teammate.
So top lane, Raven, Ice Blast will connect, so Resolution, he can actually fight this. He needs to drop him down lower side of his steering chain, now off cooldown, and the Alchemist will finally be brought down. Ember Spirit, almost 800 gold for that kill. A much needed one for DC. One just to stop Alchemist from farming a full minute where he is just on the sidelines and no money.
And they need a lot more picks like that. Magnus is going in with his new Shadow Blade. Gonna kill him quickly. He does have a Bloodstone, but DC looking for more.
Weeha can't blink up at the moment. He has to wait it out.
But this is the best way to deal with Alchemist. You can just Shadow Blade past the Radiance illusions, and he has no idea, because almost all of the illusion space carries will use their illusions to scout. Force you to use a smoke or something similar, in this case Shadow Blade, to bypass those. And we actually don't see it picked up, I think, often enough. I like the way that EG played yesterday and just bought tons of Shadow Blades into the late game. With the slight range decrease on the jump through side, it becomes much more difficult to scout out for these sort of engagements.
Weeha can't find his opening. Shadow Blade can't reach Cuckoo. He's holding right underneath his own tower. The Lich, however, feels a little bit more exposed. The gem carrier for TNC. Farming up in the lane. And now it's DC's time to maneuver. 4 heroes smoke. Of course, that Dire Observer Ward, I believe, did actually see it. And of course, TNC, they're smoked, waiting on the hillside for DC to come in. The line was drawn by Jimmy, but they didn't go in closer. In fact, now they will come out and go to the Radiant side of the river. Dire will scan, they'll realize that DC didn't back up. Instead, they jump forward. They find the Alchemist again. They push him away from the Ice Blast. So they have to do this the hard way. Global silence will happen, but the kill has already been done. And now Cuckoo caught out of position too. He came to help, but now he's locked in time and space. There's his Bloodstone charger starting to drop, and DC starting to rack up some kills, even finding the Courier as well. Quick punch. That double damage on Weeha, and they even have Silencer. Do they know? Jimmy, he's in the tree line. Moo will come in, he'll cut, and Demon caught out. Roshan he's open for the taking, as well as the tier 2 tower.
What's he doing?
He was wishing, hoping, thinking, and praying that DC would walk past him.
I was half expecting him to plant a tree to the right side, and he just trapped himself in there. No branch in his inventory, though. But that was a really nice scan for DC. They scout it out at the secret shop. Once it hits red, you know the whole team's not standing behind the Alchemist. You jump the Alchemist. Even if teammates help, you can catch him out with a Faces Void. There was only one there, but let's say the whole team was there. They could easily catch him out with a Stomp, RP, and DC really flexing their muscles and showing how strong their team fight actually is. And they hasn't even really escalated to a 5-on-5 brawl, which DC would really like to do, but TNC trying to avoid at all costs with the split pushing Alchemist.
Back to farming. Resolution starting to rack up the damage. He's, well, it's a Mana Star recipe on the Courier, but it's his Crystallis, which is also there.
Well, we may be trying to look for a pick, but he does not have reverse polarity. I think he can solo kill the Lich and or Silencer without RP. His Echo Saber. And almost Silver Edge.
Easier way to deal with the Timber Sword at that point, but Timber's also finding himself a survivability item. The Yulsep build from Kuku. And we're reaching the point as well where Raven's going to start the 6th slot. Like he's roughly, he's almost at the point where he can complete up his Octarine. And we just need to have that one armor item from him, be it Shivas or be it AC.
Yes, but you also have to consider Ember Spear's farm. He's actually way more farmed than normal this game. And combine that with Empower, he's actually, I would say, fairly close to the network output of the Alchemist.
Still want to see how long it's going to take for TNC to start sharing out the Aghanim Scepter, to start amplifying these cores who had to sacrifice so much for the glory of Raven.
The Ag Scepters won't solve that much. They need additional items. You need a lot of physical mitigation versus the Ember Spirit and the Faces Void 2, who also has Manta Style. Like the right clicks are going to be pretty hard. You can do a lot of damage with the Ag Scepters, but you still need to be able to survive their team fight combo. You need PKBs, you need a lot of other items, like ideally like hard, maybe Crimson Guard on Axe, so that you can tank up, survive the ultimates, and then force DC to maybe play a little bit later, get refreshers if it gets past 40-50 minutes.
Prepare for battle, bottom lane. Vision-wise, both teams don't really have an advantage just yet. No Dire Observer Ward on the hill. There's actually Demon walking down under the spirit of Elder Titan. Made it look like he planted an Observer Ward on the hillside. So Weehar's in a better position on the tree line. Acid Spray makes it a little bit more difficult to get close and blink over.
TNC are especially careful about the Magnus and Shadowblade. They've been playing very well around it. Most of the time you'll see this catch a lot of players off guard just because it's not terribly common that you do that. But no one's really gotten Silver Edge and solo killed. No one's gotten Shadowblade in and skewered back, aside from that one time with the Alchemist with the smoke.
Just smart, patient play. Now coming out from both sides. Especially for TNC to slow down this game. They haven't slowed down the experience gain, however. That's now up at around 6,000, almost 7,000 in favor of Digital Chaos. The gold leads their way a little bit. Now bottom lane, Kuku trapped inside that Chronosphere. Slider Fist from Resolution is there. Kuku, however, can Timber chain himself away. A very, very tanky Timber. Also it is one charges. A little bit too late there on the blink searing chains.
There's no Chronosphere and no PKB yet on the Mag.
They want to fight. Concoction is being... Okay, they used it on the illusions. And then the jump forward. The RP! Demon and Raven caught out. The Slider Fist burning off that little bit of life that he had. And Raven, the Lich Oldie, how much counter damage is there? It still bounces around. Now Resolution tries to spirit away. He's too slow. Concoction will hold him there. But the support from DC now it can move over. After they killed off the Lich, they can look towards the cause misery. The Stomp can't actually get it down in time. Buster will take the gem, run away. Mu actually grabs the other gem. Starts his TP. The Concoction will fly. Mu will drop. The gem will be regathered in a 3-take-3 fight.
Some misspells there. Ancient Apparition just narrowly missed on the Ice Blast onto the Alchemist, which would surely have killed him that fight. So we actually blinks out as Demon is casting his curse, gets a very slick 2-man RP coming out from them. But look at where Raven was. He was just outside the edge of that and was able to clean up these multiple heroes. At least Resolution escapes at the end of the day.
Yeah, that is the upside. Keeping Resolution away from that death counter. Because the more farm he's got, the better it is for DC. Split push becomes a lot faster, becomes a lot more efficient.
Yeah, he has 6 slotted. The general sense. Moonshard, maybe replace your armlet with something, but we usually see that after the
Demon?
X.
Weeha really want to have a move in for that. Demon is very, very low. He'll get a regenerating urn touch. And then the Ice Blast on the way up. It's going to fly over the top. So there's a chill effect. Global Silence. They're trying to keep Resolution on the front lines. It's going to be successful. 76 seconds without Resolution. He just fought the Daedalus. And Cuckoo's looking for another opening. They jump the double corner. It caught Sam before he could get the call off. Now Weeha up P in 5, 4, 3. Wait for the extra 2 and 1. Then he can turn around and fight, but maybe it's too late. The Ancient Apparition are hunted to death by the Axe. Nu and Weeha are on the run east.
But that's a common thing that happens. So you're like, oh, this large team fight just happened, and sometimes you forget about the ultimate. Ember Spear forgot about the global silence. Demon died during the initial RP at that fight and still had it up. He does not have an anti-global silence build. Normally you'll see Manta style. Occasionally you'll see Yules or BKB on the Ember Spirit, but the Manta style is far more common. Maybe a Lotus Orb refusal from one of your teammates, but he's
Weeha,
carry.
RP, how much damage have you got? Weeha, how much life have you got? Not a lot of it. As the curse is over on Moo, Weeha will just have to blink and TP himself out. Moo on the run, the courier flies over the top of him, and Concoction arriving from the left. Moo, time walk is up. Like he was waiting for the jump into mid, some kind of like exit strategy, but it never really arrived.
The Curse of the Silence is also just incredibly good versus the Void, who always uses time walk and multiple time dilations if he can during a fight. And looks like TNC will dodge the AA ultimate, maybe perhaps expecting that, and
should fly through that speed upgraded.
Yeah,
because he went for the Hand of Midas early on. Now you have the Ancient Apparition with an Aghanim Scepter.
Still, they haven't actually been able to connect on too many ultimates. Even the last team fight near the mid T1, they missed. Yeah. They have to hit it on Raven.
Is TNC having really good positioning, staying split up? With Axe and Timber being so aggressive, these fights become slightly chaotic in positioning.
And with Alk just being a monster, he's out on the front line, and you ideally want to hit with like a really large A blast. Is it actually going to go for the
It was too late. It was still on cooldown for way too long. As TNC repairing almost all the damage of both experience, as well as now having the advantage in the net worth. It's a fun comeback in for TNC after what was a decent start for DC. And there's a BKB, so Raven hasn't stopped spending money on himself. He buys a full BKB. What are these dropping for that?
Armlet, generally.
Well, they're having a little bit of trouble at home. Weeha attacking into the tier 3 towers, forces the TP back from the Timbersaw. Raven will still take the tier 2 tower on bot lane.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
But it's like he's getting this BKB. Is it so they can go high ground? Is that what they're looking for?
Yeah, I think it's so he doesn't die to the AA plus. Doesn't. They don't have that much magic damage actually on their team. I'm a little surprised that he's going for BKB. Maybe so he doesn't get caught by like the stomp too. A stomp onto the Alchemist will lose in the fight. If A still has to.
Well, he's definitely not going back. He sold the full armlet. So he's not looking to like interchange items at all.
Yeah.
And now with his Ancient Set going to go down, he should have enough money for a full Axe.
Who is first? I don't think Lich. Axes is marginal, so Timbersaw Silencer are the main option. I'd probably say Silencer is the best one. He's also a very high priority target in the fights. I think even the extra HP, aside from the benefit that Axe Scepter gives you to your ultimate, is valuable to him surviving.
And how long ago did Weeha start up this Silver Edge build and just abandon it halfway through?
What happened? He still has the recipe, but still hasn't committed. At least he's going for anti-BK or anti-global. Everyone on the team, I think, needs.
Need the BKB.
You don't have to get BKB. Like we see Ember Spirit, he has the Yasha now. So Manta Style's 1. We see Manta Style also on the Face's Voice. So 2 of the 5 heroes. Magnet's going for BKB. That's 3. And then Yules on the Elder Titan. Yules is not that great because you can't like instantly use it and then instantly use another spell afterwards. You want the ones that don't stable you. So Lotus Orb, I think, is a really popular choice. You can afford it.
All right, drumroll. Demon and Sam are standing around him. The Aghanims is coming out in the courier at the moment. And it looks like the Axe is staying closer. Who wants it? Who wants it? They're pinging. Demon's pinging himself. Yeah. The selfish captain.
I think it's more important on Silencer. It's only between those two though. Oh, Timbersaw actually leads between Timbersaw or Demon. I don't think you give the Axe though. Axe, it's like the calling is not that important. It's far more important that Silencer is able to use his. Okay.
pushes coming in from DC on the top lane.
Is Timber strong enough to fight in these fights?
We're gonna find out. TNC are forcing one. They're coming straight down the mid to the tier 2 tower. Top lane is already forced out a fair way. Resolution can keep going with this and then TP back, but he'll decide to TP back earlier. Moose also home.
It'll
be a tier 2 tower. Weehar is the man that keeps the push going.
Radiant's middle tower.
They do this quite often, the smoke into the observer ward placement. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but TNC like
this
want to
TP
get
back. It's a trap on top lane. Weehar, he's going to try and RP this one. Pull him back. Connect on the Ice Blast into Raven. Is the damage going to be enough to get through the Alchemist? There's the BKB actually paying off dividends. Weehar will trigger his own. They have to get out of here, but Weehar is waiting. He's still got a couple seconds left on this BKB, so he will be fine. Even if Cuckoo can cut down all of the trees on the map, it won't matter. Immunity was there to allow the TP out.
Nice item swap from Alchemist.
And allows him to stand his ground and fight. The TNC now have vision inside the DC base. Their sentry ward's over on Zuxa. But he doesn't have, like, there's no gems, so they're not easily going to see that ult inside the base. And he actually threw the sentry outside the base.
What happened to their gem?
Oh, I'm seeing one over on Demon, but yeah, that's the one that belongs to Misery. Demon currently has the gem.
Is the other one in their stash or something? I don't actually see the other one.
It's on the courier. They use gem on the courier. Cuckoo being surrounded on bottom lane. Again, Magnus preparing. He's going to be in a good spot to secure back the Ice Blast. Only going to get the chill effect, but that will be enough to stop the regeneration. TP support's on the way from TNC, and now it's DC having to battle the double shock him too early on the Culling Blade. This will allow Ancient Apparition to stand. He's going to use the TP out. Where's the damage to Lich ulti? It'll off the stun. Or at least they get the Ancient Apparition, but with that much support committed by TNC, you're expecting them to get a little bit more.
Timbersaw is deceptively tanky. I was like, does he really have enough items to warrant giving him an axe? But with the frost armor, they actually don't have an easy way to burst him down. They're majority physical damage right now. And with the frost armor, he'll just get reactive stacks to try and burst him down early. It's gonna take a while for them unless they hit a wombo combo on top of him.
We have patience. He's Silver Edge walked straight past Cuckoo. It was moving like he knew exactly where he was, and that's because he did have an inkling. That Observer Ward's over near the Radiant stack. Misery gonna loop around the back of Cuckoo, heals him up, keep him out of the fight, but all of TNC is grouping up on the bottom lane. The Ancient Apparition will be up in 10 seconds time. Fortification is available for DC as well, so they can stop this push. Buy time for the A to respawn, but Cuckoo, you are really deep. He's almost a fountain, but he also almost killed off Misery. Now chained up, they'll use him. There is your Global Silence. Faceless Void dropping, trying to keep the TNC entrapped by the corner. Not possible. Suicide needs to be done. The side of fist, the stomp. Lich is so low, under 100 life. One attack from the Apparition. Ancient Apparition will do it, and now it's also in the corner. Sam, nowhere to go. Tries to call for the extra armor. It will not be enough, and TNC, little overconfident going that deep.
They have to kill the Ember Spear.
They're gonna fight Demon. Stomp from Misery is gonna take too long. Yule Scepter. Ooh, couldn't get the vision in time.
The Ember Spirit is, like, this is a secret that you want? This is, it's a secret. This is the lineup that you want to go laking with. This is a secret lineup, the Magnus Ember Spirit that they used at Frankfurt Major, and this is still relevant. These two heroes are largely unchanged. And you let it get to this point where he, like, I think he took down 70-80% of Lich's HP with one crit.
Yep.
Your supports are gonna die. And Lich doesn't even have a Ghost Scepter, no armor. He went for a pipe instead. Deal with the AA ulti.
I still can't believe the DC basically defended that, like, without Misery and without the Faceless Void. Like, there was no chrono time, there was no nothing from DC. And TNC still didn't take the tower or the fight.
Timbersaw tried to split them up. DC are strongest when they're all clumped up, TNC's all clumped up, and then someone's going to get hit at least a 2-man RP minimum or 2-man Chronosphere. But if you have the Timbersaw on the front line, you can start disabling the blinks, you can get rid of their Yule Scepters, you can maybe force them to BKB out, and TNC can also file in around the Timbersaw, circle around them so that you aren't clumping up as you're pushing up the hill. The way that you push up the hill normally is just suicide versus the lineup. It was a nice attempt, but it was just a little bit too deep. Timbersaw going to T4. If he had gotten the Elder Titan kill like right on the spot, then it would have been great. But Ember Spirit is who they need.
He almost had it. It'll be a lot harder next time. Now that 4-star's over on Misery, he'll have the way just to push himself outside of the chakrams.
Yeah, they need to blink call to the Ember Spirit. That's something that 4-staff won't help against, and that's the lockdown.
Is Resolution going straight for Rapier? Walking around with this relic on him?
I don't really see why not. I don't think he's going to die in this one.
Well, Demon's looking to kill him off as, nope, Demon can watch him try to fist the wave down and not have enough damage. But that courier is making his trek all the way up to the Radiant shop. There's not enough money on him. He still needs another 200 before he can buy the full Rapier. As another Aghanim set to now gets purchased up by Raven.
I'm contemplating whether or not it's warranted at this point in this. It's warranted right now. What?
He's already bought the Moonshard, so with the money, he may as well be buying something. The only downside is he sacrifices his buyback.
Demon dropped.
No,
What is he doing?
I don't know. What is Demon doing? Bottom lane. Oh, the chrono is there. It holds Cuckoo in position. The Timber Store down to half-life. Moon now has to time walk himself away. The global silence. They waited out. Raven gonna stun himself. If he can't get vision of somebody, the BKB will protect him. They find the ancient apparition with the splitter arriving from Misery. Snap him back all together with the RP. They need the clean. Resolution's not there yet, but he's coming in. They've already lost 2. They'll lose 3 as Raven. He wants to get out of here, but the damage is too much. DC. They will take the fight against TNC.
Wow, Moop baited out that global silence so well. He started off with the Chronosphere, he got one of the heroes, and then he manted the last word, forcing Silencer to use his global silence. And then he thinks and then he thinks that Faceless Void is out of ways to get out of silence, but then he has a Diffusal Blade, diffusals himself, and retreats back under the help of his teammates. And now
Alchemist finds back. Weehard just missing the skewer over on Demon. That could have been huge for him. Instead, now they concoct on Faceless Void. Enough man to time walk himself out. Resolution brings the Rapier to the front lines. But they're going to back out. For now, they want a good fight.
that looked like it did like almost nothing to Alpha.
Yeah. He still had the Empower on him. The Empower was wearing off as he was backing out. But TNC losing that huge advantage they had. Almost 12,000 net worth starting to being repaired. DC having the experience advantage once again. Their second peak for this game.
Yeah, all it takes is like a decent team fight from them. They even jumped the Ancient Apparition very early. The Chronosphere didn't catch more than one hero at the fight, but so much upside to DVC's team fight, and that's only a glimpse of the strength of it.
So at that point, do you say TNC should just, again, go back to what they were doing before, like the full split? Or can they not do that because of the Ember?
I don't think they can do that because of the Alchemist. The Alchemist, he doesn't really have that much to farm for anymore. He doesn't have his buyback right now, but that's what you're buying time for in the early game. Okay, Alchemist is going to farm faster than anyone else, but at this point, he's going to farm faster than anyone else, but he can't really put his gold to use, so there's not really any point in farming. So they have to fight. They have to win team fights versus DC. There's no other way around it. You're not going to chip them to death with Radiant Illusions.
Well, they just smoked up. It was out of range of the Observer Ward. They do see DCs, but DC, they smoke up as well. All five men together. That Sentry Wall was being attacked in mid, and this may be enough of an inkling for DC to realize, yep, Resolution. Where are they? They're trying to find it. Weehar runs in, the Silver Edge, the RP to catch out too. Sam goes in deeper, looking for the call, but he can't find the side of fist damage. Let's just explodes. They're looking for more. Misery with a stop that keeps Sam in check. One move, battling up against the Timber on the side, but again, Resolution. He just hits like a truck at the moment. They jump over. Now Raven, isolated. They're looking good here. There's a triple kill for Resolution. You're probably going to make it an Ultra, except now the Titan will steal it. But it doesn't matter. TNC with 4 heroes down, none of them have buyback. This is at least 2 lanes of racks.
They tried so hard to look for the Ember Spear, but that's what happens when he has the power and Rapier. No way you can stand against that.
Cuckoo! Looking for the damage with the BKB to protect him. He's actually done terrible damage to Misery. The chakrams are still down. Misery 4-staffed out of it. They also have to buy him some time, some survivability. But then Resolution, Chris for just over 1,000. The stop, a fraction of a second off. The Ice Blast, Cuckoo, move away! It's not fast enough! The Ice Blast will take him! And now DC, oh, they wanted 2 lanes of frags, they're gonna get it. But once again, they've got 2 big cores on the sideline. They can go for 3 lanes here at the moment. Because it is a 3-on-5, even if DC are injured. Demon will try and push him back out. No global stance for 45 seconds, even with that Ags upgrade offered by the Alchemist. He still has to wait for it.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And DC being very safe. They know if they lost this game, they would be out of the International 2016. So no risk Dota. 30 seconds till TNC are back up to 6. Then they have to fight the Ice Blast, the Chronosphere. They've caught the Axe out underneath the tier 4 towers. Axe just dying just to that while the Magnus skewering back the Lich. There's too many players from TNC dying. The Lich ulti has done some work, but nowhere near enough. Well, when the Ancient Apparition has now finally shattered the Axe, the Rack's almost popped. He just got obliterated. Mega's up for DC. The tier 4 towers are the only thing to protect TNC from a GG call. They will have to group up as 5 and have some miracle engagement to come back in this game.
With a Rapier on the other side, I don't think you GG out here. There's always time for the Rapier throws.
Yeah, if you can find the Ember. Maybe it's also time for a second Rapier on Resolution. Kind of needs the Manta to break free of Global.
He has enough money for a second one at this point, and they don't actually have great Rapier carries on the TNC side.
He can go the safer route. Cuckoo caught out, RP from We Are. This could be an easy opening for them to go for deep. 74 seconds without the Timber. They can go deep with the tier 4 towers. Instead, they'll focus on Roshan. Just a free Aegis. It really doesn't take him that long.
There's not really a window that he's giving TNC at all. They're always sticking around Ember Spirit. As long as Ember Spirit doesn't die, you probably shouldn't lose the game at this point.
That is a very steep climb for the DC graph. So TNC, how the hell do you defend this? You send 3 up, you're still looking for that Observer Ward of DC, which is inside the base now. They'll get rid of it.
You hope for a call on the Ember Spirit.
Magnus is slipping in. He's right next to AU. And almost with just pure physical brute damage, he'll almost find the kill, but not enough. The call holding him there. Global stance as well. But the Chrono from Moo. And actually, he broke free thanks to Minotaur, keeping Raven in check. The literal drop. At least he actually keeps the Magnus out of this fight, but not for much longer. Weeha just man-modes out. Raven goes for a hunt outside the base. But he takes up, he'll concoct himself, and no, they just surround him. It's a 3-man on Alchemist Sandwich and TNC. Game number 2 goes to DC. And Demon willingly in all chat, willing game 3 to come. A decider between the old friends Misery and Demon. DC and TNC, who goes home today?
I think mostly that was an outdraft by DC at the end of the day. The team fight was too strong. The early game, they just lost way too hard.
Everything just seemed to work as well. Like Digital Chaos, once everything came online, the Ember having so much space, the Battle Fury wasn't really slowing down, and the Ancient Apparition, we didn't really see any effect from the Ice Blast. Then the Aghanim's came online, and all of a sudden, Ice